This is how you start an educational revolution. Somehow this white woman ended up on the right side of TikTok, and I was inadvertently invited to join Dr. Barlow's class. And since then, I have been automatically enrolled in course after course.
We were supposed to be resting and having fun. And just for fun, Black women decided to create an online university.
Amazing viewer, this is Comfort for Life. I bring to you a compilation of TikTok videos together with famous channel or show videos for educational purposes. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you for your immense love, continued support. I love you, appreciate you, thank you. Let's dive into today's video.
Here's how it goes. Trump becomes president. The 92% say they mind their own business. Dr. Barlow posts a video about African American studies, and it's just for her students. Because we're starved for community, and when Black women tell us to do something, we listen, we all enrolled. But Dr. Barlow was like, this ain't for y'all. This is for my 30 students that I have. I don't know all 400,000 of you, but thank you for coming, I guess. And we were like, no, ma'am, we are staying. And other professors were like, no, come on, I'll teach you too. Come on, we'll teach you. And now there's over like 50 classes, over like 20 electives. We got advisors. We have our own TikTok university now. We have a dean. We have a librarian.
Watching Dr. Barlow accidentally start an educational revolutionary movement on this app has been the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen. Educated, highly educated Black women and men are all coming together, offering free resources, time out of their day, educating us on topics that we may not be aware of. Like, do you understand the magnitude of this? Like, it's almost giving like a revolutionized No Child Left Behind. Think about the parts of the US where people do not have the opportunity or ability to go to school and obtain an education. And here we are saying, you know what? Bump the Department of Education, bump FAFSA, bump these student loans. I'm about to open up this app for free and learn you something. And I am here for it. I'm tuned in. I'm clocked in on every single class because there's no such thing as too much information. And we all know the power of knowledge. And so I am so excited to keep seeing my brothers and sisters showing up on this app and educating us on what we need to know.
This comment. Hillman Talk University, TikTok University, all these educated Black professors and doctors and professionals coming in and creating this is a social justice movement. This is a direct reflection of what happened. And anytime something happens where Black women are at a disadvantage, we create movements, we pivot, we adjust, we make a way out of no way.
This is how you start an educational revolution. Somehow this white woman ended up on the right side of TikTok, and I was inadvertently invited to join Dr. Barlow's class. And since then, I have been automatically enrolled in course after course, starting with TikTok University and ending up at Hillman Talk University just today, where thanks to Miranda's organization, you can find your course list in one streamlined format. And as I scrolled, I found myself in tears because I have worked in the slogs of education for over 2 decades. And for too long, higher education has been out of reach for too many people. Too expensive, too privileged, too unwilling or unable to adapt and change. But you have all said no. We won't bow to the constructs of education. We won't bow to the constructs of what you say education has to be or should be. Instead, we will educate one another. No longer will knowledge and skills be hoarded behind gates, but will be amassed by the populace freely and joyously. And I'm so happy to be here with you.
Something that was supposed to be meant for 35 students One mistake, very simple mistake, because it wasn't intentionally for us, open up a gate to access to higher education is the only way to go. And the fact that that mistake was able to trigger and start a domino effect of other professors to get on this app and start teaching on their own time shows a lot. I personally went through a situation last year, not a couple months ago. I had to stop school because of funding. And yes, I do know schools are for profit. Nothing's free. But the fact that she was able to do that simple mistake and open up free lessons, courses for people that's probably was struggling to get some type of education, and people were actually enrolling into her class that was meant for 35 students, that says a lot about the country we live in. A lot of us come here, including myself, to get a higher education. We work, we don't sleep. We go to the point where we are so stressed that sometimes we even fell out of class because of that. But we push through. Dr. Barlow opened up a gate, and I'm glad she opened that shit up. I'm glad she opened it, and we are gonna bulldoze it. It's not gonna stay closed. I went through a roller coaster last year trying to see if I could finish school, and I couldn't. It's not a denial, it's a delay, but it hurts because of the time that you put in. And they didn't care. They didn't care whether or not you couldn't make that next $1,000 payment because school was so high for me. They didn't care if you was out. At one point, I even showed my administrator that I was late, behind on all my bills, behind on everything. I said, could you let me sit in for the final exam? They wouldn't, until I brung it. And when I did, they held my grades. I was missing a few bucks for that month. This is not including the rest of the balances that I had. So thank you for the people that wants to continue learning. Thank you for Dr. Barlow for opening up a lot of good that is still part of this world, because a lot of people want to get educated. We need these educated professionals to stay on the path, because we're going to be hit with a lot of things. But for that simple mistake, it wasn't a mistake. Thank you.
Can we talk about the fact that they don't want to give us free higher level education, college and university, but by a mistake video by Dr. Barlow, thank you so much, all of a sudden we have all this free education by all these doctorate level real professors that are taking time out of their day, free time, to give us free education. Like, this could really be a real thing. Like, we could really have free high level education. They just don't want to give it to us. And it's just this simple. A small video has now got doctorate level professors out there giving us all this free education. Like, this is crazy.
Ironic enough, the one thing that the U.S. feared is what they inadvertently had a hand in bringing forth. It's not about the speech, y'all. Oh, I even gave my opinion about it being about financials. It's not, I'm not going to say it's not about that. I'm not going to even say it's not about speech. Those are issues to them. The real issue, I believe, and I think a lot of other people would agree, is the community, the collective coming together, because they spent so many years, all their hard-earned time and money separating us and dividing us and spewing out off of media. It programmed us to not liking one another. It programmed us to knee-jerk despising each other just because we look different from each other. Because the government said we should. Because the government said it's because of this person and it's because of that person. It's not because of us. So y'all just go ahead and fight it out amongst yourselves while we continue to run things in the background. And what's even crazier is the fact that not only Have y'all inadvertently had a hand in bringing the nation together? You inadvertently had a hand in bringing the world together. You say, we're going to take away the app that's bringing all of y'all together. Now what are you going to do? Well, since you have a problem with China and I don't have a problem with China, I'm going to go over here to the little red book. You're not going to stop my free speech. I understand there's some filtering. There is filtering over there. But you know what? I'm willing to do that in spite of you. And you know what happened? Do you know what happened? They welcomed us with open arms. The CEO put out a public video welcoming us, saying, yes, we love it. Bring the diversity. We want, yes, this is a Chinese app, but we want y'all to speak English. People want to learn. We need to, share each other's cultures and learn about each other's cultures. They even created a chat group for us. There's a whole chat group of them helping us navigate through the app. They came over here to TikTok knowing TikTok is about to leave in X amount of days. And they said, let me teach you Mandarin. Let me teach you how to navigate our app. We are on your side. This is the people of China. The people. Whatever beef you governments got going on, that ain't got nothing to do with us people. Because we are uniting on a world front. This isn't just a nationwide front anymore. This is a worldwide front. And I think it's so beautiful. And I woke up this morning. I saw all the messages from the chat group. I saw people liking posts and sharing information and coming over to TikTok and teaching us Mandarin and sharing their culture and stuff. And I just smiled because I'm like, this is the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where it's not about where you from. It's about you as a person. And I love it. I never thought, honestly, I'm gonna be real, I never thought in my life, that I would ever see a day like today. And who would have known that it only took the U.S. government doing what the U.S. government do the best for us to come together as one. I love it. I love it. Let's keep this momentum, y'all. Let's keep it up.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I got the lore right. TikTok University was a HBCU, but because of the rollbacks with DEI, they preemptively turned into a PWI. So Miss Willis down at the bursar's office informed all of us that, baby, a couple of miles down the road is Hillman College. Take your ass down there. You should have been there to begin with. And that's how we're at Hillman. Is that the lore? I just want to make sure I'm right. Because I'm still seeing people say at TikTok University, I'm like, bruh. We down to Hillman, baby. Did you not get the memo? Are you staying at TikTok University? Or you not pulling out? I mean, maybe they got tenure. I don't know.
Other good books to start with are The Stolen Legacy by Dr. George G.M. James. This gets into the African origins of Greek philosophy and the erasure and the suppression of this original knowledge situation. They think that they know something. They think they know about science and history and mathematics. And they think they know, y'all, but they don't. The world has been miseducated and they need to see what's really going on. So as much as I understand we need safe spaces for ourselves, this access to this real information, this true information, and looking at Black scholars doing what we do, is necessary. My message to white people is, if you see a black professor doing something real on here, pay attention, listen. It might challenge your worldview, it might create some cognitive dissonance in you, but this is growth, this is learning, this is expanding your consciousness, and that's what we all need here. Right now, with all the problems we're having in our society, we need an expansion of consciousness. We need to stretch ourselves, we need to stretch the way that we've been taught to see the world, and we have to start thinking about it differently so that we can come together. And I'm not on some whole kumbaya type of thing, but world peace is important, y'all. We have to really figure out how to actualize a peaceful society, because it's not just about me, it's not just about this whole race relations thing. It really is. People are dying all over this world. People are dying because of power and resources. Okay, there is a hoarding of resources, there's a manipulation and control and exploitation of resources, including human resources. And we have to be better, we have to do better, and we have to start holding people accountable. And if this current governmental system that we're in is not meeting our needs, we have the power to start to do something different, y'all. We have to get strategic and we have to get together. And so this is where it starts. And I'm so glad that we're doing this, y'all. I am so glad to be here. What a time to be alive.
To the black community, I want you to know that I stand in solidarity with you, and I hope to hear from more white people that feel the same way I do. Look, we fucked up. White people fucked this election up big time. The black community, to the vast majority, understood the assignment, and white people, just like always, came in and fucked this thing sideways. And when you look at all the things that Donald Trump has been peeling back, it is extremely, extremely concerning what he has done in just a few short days. And I saw a few black creators on this app say, you know, it's up to the white people now. Like, white people are the ones who, we're not going to be affected by Donald Trump stuff. He's going to work to make our lives better at the expense of making everybody else's life worse. And I hope there are enough white people out there that feel like me that that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. We have to say something. We have to do something. We have to use our voices in a positive way to combat Donald Trump and all of his draconian policies that are going to send us back into the Stone Age. He is going to get rid and demote every single race. The black community knew this. The black community has always known this. But so many white people didn't want to listen. And now here we are. So if you voted for Donald Trump as a white person, or you didn't vote at all, shame on you. Everything that you are going to see, everybody's life who is affected negatively by this presidency, everybody who is going to lose rights that they have had for decades and decades and decades are now being stripped away, can be denied employment, rolling back DEI, all these things. Shame on white people. I voted for Kamala Harris. I've been speaking out for 6 months on this platform, and I'm going to continue to do that against Donald Trump for the next 4 years. But I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. We fucked up. So, to the black community, I am with you, and I hope there are enough people out there like me that are willing to stand by your side and work to move forward.
Black folks make everything better. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Black folks make everything better. You having a bad day? Get a hug from an old black woman. See if it don't change your whole fucking life. You need some advice? Go get advice from an old black man. See if that ain't the best fucking advice you ever heard. That's how it works. You want to have more fun doing something? It don't matter what it is either. You could be at work, church, going to hang out at your mama's house, just going to do what the fuck ever. Add some black folks with it. See if it ain't a fucking grand time. Outside of all the regular stereotypical shit, there's just a fucking good time around black folks. I made a post a while back talking about how a black lady complimented me, and compliments from a black lady hit different. Somebody shared that bitch on Instagram, and it got like 2 million views, 100,000 likes, and the comments were just full of people being nice as shit about it. And I was just like, damn, that's crazy. But they were all like, hey, just so you know, you're invited to the cookout. First off, I've been to the fucking cookouts. I've been coming to the cookouts. I've been getting invited to cookouts. I appreciate y'all. This ain't my first time around black folks. But I will say to all the white people out there, do yourself a favor, Start adding black folks into whatever you're doing, because I promise you're going to enjoy life a little more.
Federal agencies will not be allowed to acknowledge, recognize, or celebrate Black History Month. Black History Month is canceled under Trump. CIA employees were told all resource and affinity groups are canceled. No Black History Month or MLK celebration or any other ethnic recognition months. DEI folks are to be fired rather than allowed to rotate to former offices. CIA is also apparently banning lanyards that have to do with affinity groups. Women's councils how to take down their website and cancel all event, including Women's History Month. They are also compiling a list of members within affinity groups. It's almost as if they're trying to rewind the time to 1940. This is crazy. This is very crazy.
What the hell we gonna do now?
This is why I don't like Black history, because we marginalize our own contributions and we say, oh, this is a part of our story, our world. But no, our story is the world story. Black history is world history. All people came from a Black woman, mitochondrial Eve. We all share DNA with an African descendant. So that is world, global, human history. It's not just, oh, those Black people over there, they did this thing. No, we created and educated the entire world. And because the people are not aware of this, or because the people want to act like they forgot this, this is why we're able to be in this position that we're in now, calling ourselves minorities. Come on now. We know we're not minorities. 9/10 of the planet is what? Black and brown. Europeans, palm-colored people, they're the true minority, the global minority. We're so far deep into this that we really need a shift of a paradigm. We need a paradigm shift, we need a consciousness shift, and we really need to come into the truth about what has been going on here on this planet. We need to go into the truth of what's been going on in our history. We need to get in the truth of what's been going on in our science, and we need to get the truth about what's going on in our spirituality. Our spiritual systems and our knowledge systems are very closely intertwined, but they've tried to separate that.
Listen, Black women are Black womening harder than we've ever Black womaned before. Our registrar, Miranda, of Miranda Curls and Beauty, said the registration is closed. We now have over 400 classes being offered at Hillman Talk University. Over 400 in a week. I'm in the parking lot outside of my fitness and social club because I wanted to get in my first 2 lectures of interior design. Our lesson today was on design narrative for the spaces that we're going to be working with. I just got my first 2 classes done while in the parking lot. This is going to be revolutionary. I'm completely giving credit to the 92% for this endeavor. This was born out of us finally having a little bit of time. Us finally having a little bit of space, and look what we've created. And all of our professors and instructors are offering this to us for free. And the wonderful part, the beautiful part, is that they themselves get to build something, whether that's resources, whether or not we're cash apping them. By the way, you all support your professors. We're liking, we're sharing their content, we're following them over to different platforms. A lot of professors are coming over to Substack, I'm telling you. So a lot of smart Black women are hanging out over there. Come join us over there. I am so proud of us. So make sure that you support your professors. So hit their cash apps, follow them on the other apps, share their work, share your classes and what you're doing with other Black women, and encourage them to take this space to do this, to expand their minds, to be in community, because we are all a community. We want to keep it balanced and reciprocal. Say thank you. Give your respects to, share your resources with your instructors and your professors, because they are giving something amazing to us, something that is beautiful out of their own time, their own talents. I am so proud of us. I want the 92% to take credit for this. Okay. This is a W. This is a big win. And I'm sorry, it's ours. This was born out of Black women finally having some time, finally taking a step back, finally deciding to invest our time and our energy into ourselves. And in doing so, we have poured into the community. I want you all to listen to my new podcast. It's all about the 92%, this movement, this moment in time. It's on Substack and it's on Spotify. I love y'all so much. I'm so proud of us. And now I got to finish the second lecture, and I got to read 3 paragraphs of Kindred before my bar class. Love y'all.
All right, y'all, so I've decided that these are just going to be mini lectures because we don't have the space on TikTok to give the full attention that I would normally give in a class. But I wanted to start off by talking about Donald Glover's This Is America. What are your thoughts? I assigned this piece that, of course, came out in 2018, but I felt like it was so relevant today if we want to have a conversation about distraction and the use of entertainment, but not just entertainment, but the use of entertainment to distract us from what's actually happening in our politics and our economics and our everyday lived experience. And I thought Donald Glover returning back to that in this moment was really important. I will tell you that if I were to teach this and a student came to me and said, I want to go a little bit further, I actually want to do a full-out project on this, I would say, well, you need to engage with Black performance theory. Okay, this was published in 2014 or 2015 by Duke University Press. It is theory, so it is a little bit more dense, but these are the types of pieces that will help you to understand what Donald Glover is doing, even as he does what I argue is a historiography of how Black entertainment has been constructed by America. So walk with me for a second. You know, in the beginning, Donald Glover contorts his body to the image of Jim Crow, that Jim Crow stereotypical image that comes, of course, out of minstrelsy, blackface, et cetera, in that 1830s to 1850s period. But I find it interesting that as he does that, he points and, which I'll be saying on TikTok, child, unalives the Black man that's playing his guitar. And I believe that that's representative of the fact that in order to entertain in an American context, you must kill Black identity and Black agency. And so by the end, when he references what I believe is Michael Jackson's, I think on YouTube you can find it as Black Panther dance, where Michael Jackson is doing what he does, right, and what makes him the pop icon that he is. But he gets to a car, and there are all kinds of different words written and images that represent white supremacy. Michael Jackson busts all of those windows out, climbs on the car, and starts dancing. And for me, it feels like Glover, by engaging that, if that is what he is doing, is not only reclaiming Michael Jackson, because remember, popular culture, in order for it to sustain, must consume and de-race, get rid of race in order for it to work. So he's not only reclaiming Michael Jackson as Black male entertainer, he's also reclaiming Black entertainers not as spectacle, but as performers and artists, right? And in performance and in artistry, there is agency and identity, okay? So that's just if we would go a little bit deeper. I would say I would also add to that Kevin Quashi's Black Aliveness, or Poetics of Being. This is all ontological kind of stuff for those who think that way. And then Troubling Vision, Performance, Visuality, and Blackness. So I often like to say, let's give ourselves an opportunity to dive even deeper into the complex and layered ways that artists give us an opportunity to engage. That being said, that's why I connected this to Gil Scott-Heron's work. I'm very interested in artists who are able to give you something complex while still making it accessible and digestible, even if you don't get any of the references, which it would take me an hour course to go through if I wanted to, that Gil Scott-Heron is making. You did hear that the revolution will not be televised, and profit might he be, because it hasn't been televised. It has been on here, right? It has been in these spaces. And so I wanted to connect those two. But leave below, what were your thoughts? One more thing I wanted to say. I wanted to give some context for Gil Scott-Heron. I know I mentioned in the Blackboard post that he wrote this in 1971 and consider that. But I want you to think about Gil Scott-Heron's work alongside the backdrop of Zora Hurston singing To Be Young, Gifted, and Black, right? And she's singing this based on Lorraine Hansberry's work, which is posthumously published. Lorraine Hansberry actually wrote, of course, A Raisin in the Sun, and Dr. Sika Colbert, who has a piece in Black Performance Theory recently, I think in the last couple of years, wrote a biography on her, so you can check that out. And of course, read A Raisin in the Sun, or watch, if you've never seen those many versions of that film. But that is the backdrop, and the backdrop is lending itself towards a new group of young Black activists, scholars, artists who are shifting Black political ideology. We can think about Stokely Carmichael. You all now know him as Kwame Ture, who is a recent Howard grad philosophy major, leader of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and he and his team make that shift from Freedom Now, which was the slogan for SNCC, to Black Power, okay? And the pushback against that is not necessarily from the obvious places that you would think. It's from older Black activists who feel like it's just a little too radical. And by older, I mean probably around my age, okay? And so it's really interesting to sort of think about what that context looks like. This is also the time where we're getting the birth of Black Studies departments. Now, certainly we can think about what it means to put Black studies in an institution. There have been arguments made, and there are even more arguments to be made, and you all can talk about that as well. But this is where students across the country, not just at PWIs, but at HBCUs as well, are saying we need to be taught Black study, right? We need to be taught, at the time, AFAM studies. What does that look like? So I wanted to give you some context for why Gil Scott-Heron is saying you cannot be apathetic. You have to participate in this revolution if you want change to happen, okay? All right, so those are the things that I wanted to kind of talk about and think about. Like I said, we're going to be watching the 13th documentary this coming week. And the two books really that like I said, if I had the time, I would do, I don't have my books in order. But would be Condemnation of Blackness and The New Jim Crow. Oh, they're right here. I pulled them out. So The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, must read, must have, okay? And then this, Condemnation of Blackness, is talking about race crime and the making of modern urban America. Must read, must have, okay? So those are the things that I would suggest. Hopefully this was beneficial. Like I said, I'm gonna make these mini lectures because for me to do the type of teaching that I do, I probably do need to get on Patreon or YouTube or one of those, okay? So anyway, that said, thank you all so much. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm excited to hear how you are engaged with Glover. I'm excited to hear how you all are thinking about sort of the more complex narratives that or the complex story that he is telling. Same for Gil Scott-Heron. Leave all that below, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
Class this semester, I heard you were looking for electives, and so I'm glad you selected my course as your elective. Thank you, Dr. Barlow, for starting this movement.
Dear students, or may I say, dear family, welcome to Hillman Talk. I will be your instructor, Port City.
Wow, what an initiative. What an initiative. This is what we need. This is what we want to see. Thank you, Dr. Barlow, for starting this initiative, and we want to thank you and appreciate you for allowing us in your class. So for us to mention first the pioneers of this initiative, because so many people across the globe are now joining, and yeah, in different races in different countries. So people are joining, and they're also starting their own classes. Free online classes on TikTok. Just imagine this. What else could we need? What else were you looking for after all that is going around? So will this be kind of solving the problem of education in the US? So these are the initiatives that we need. Activism. We are not here to blame each other for the things that are affecting us, but we are here to give solutions, palpable solution to the problems that we are facing. And one of those is this. Dr. Paulo, you've started this initiative, and I know that since you have pioneered this, there's so many people who are going to follow along. We thank you, Black women, thank you, Black community, for being this kind of united and follow each other. Like when Black women, one thing that I've appreciated on TikTok about Black women is how they listen to each other. When they decide not to engage in anything and focus, oh my goodness, that's what happens. So if you've been hesitant about joining TikTok, let me give you a hack right here. So TikTok suggests to you what you follow. So it is possible for you to go and follow these 400 teachers. So if you go to TikTok and under the tag TikTok University, or you can even go Walmart Talk University, Dr. Barlow, like just go and search all these teachers, all these people who are educating us on social media, and make sure you follow them so that you can have free courses. And also register to those, consider registering to those that you feel of interest, that catch your attention. So, I'm so overwhelmed by this, and seeing people across the globe coming up and educating others on things that they know. These are real professors. You saw that they have their credential, they have their certification. So it's important for us to mention that we know that most of the time Black people aren't recognized what they do. So it's important that we document this for us to really, this is going to take us a long way. It is solving a real issue that we are facing in our society. Education that people are lacking and have the desire to do because they can't afford to pay just so that a white woman getting emotional about this, it's not a joke. People can't afford education even though they want to study in the first, anyway, in the country that in the US, yeah, that's the thing. So these are kind of initiative you want activism, you want people who will come and do things as a community, as a collective, and solve real issues that are affecting us in our society. So that was it about this video. Thank you for supporting my content. This is Comfort for Life, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being